statistical, mathematical fact
never has been down.
has broken every single record. There is no asset that has come close.
It's the only thing in the industry that was not touched, that was not hacked, and it never fails doing what it promised in 2009. It's never
What's
failed.
the best performing asset the world has ever seen? And you'll find out that it's Bitcoin.
Traders, hello followers, hello supporters, hello haters, hello Bitcoin detractors. Welcome to everyone. Welcome once again to another live Spaces with Oliver Velez. Of course, my name is Oliver Velez, and as I'm always reminding you, I am your 13%er. That's right, your Bitcoin 13%er. I'm often asked, Oliver, what does 13%er mean? Well, it's been commonly said, or it's now commonly known that, or somewhat commonly known, I should say, that only 13% of all people who have Bitcoin, own Bitcoin, interact with Bitcoin, only 13% are Bitcoin only. And so, yes, I am Bitcoin only. And therefore, I am your 13%er. Yes, I believe that there is only one discovery of digital scarcity, and that is Bitcoin. Yes, I believe that Bitcoin is not an invention, that it is a discovery. It is no different from the discovery of fire, the discovery of electricity, the discovery of atoms. I believe that it is not a man-made item. I believe that it is the manifestation of digital scarcity. In the same sense, I believe that the digital realm is also not a creation by man. I believe that it is a new realm, a new frontier that has been discovered by man, and that man, human beings, we are becoming more and more comfortable interacting with that realm, discovering new items in that realm, exploring that realm, breaking barriers down in that new frontier called the digital realm. And one of those discoveries we made in this new realm, this new frontier of ours, one of the discoveries found there was Bitcoin. And because of this, I believe that there is only one, because every single discovery is always only one. You cannot discover something twice. Discoveries don't happen twice, and you can't undiscover something. Once fire is discovered, it can't be discovered again, and it can't be undiscovered. Once you discover the fact that there is an atomic level of life that heretofore was never seen, never recognized, never known, it didn't mean that it didn't exist. But once you discover that, you can't undo it, and there can't be a new discovery of the same thing. Bitcoin is the discovery of digital scarcity in a realm that we have started to explore over the last couple of decades. We stumbled across this thing called Bitcoin. In the same way that we are attempting to explore more and more of space, we are discovering new galaxies all the time. We are discovering new planets all the time, new stars. We're discovering things like black holes. These discoveries did not mean that they did not exist before we began to explore. They've always existed. It's simply that because of our exploration in this new realm called space, in this new frontier called space, we are now discovering and finding things that have always been there. Well, it is my belief that the digital space, cyberspace, if you will, is also a frontier. that we as humans are beginning to explore. And we've been exploring this new space called cyberspace for the last couple of decades. And lo and behold, in the midst of our exploring, tinkering, we found something extraordinarily special. We found Bitcoin. We found digital scarcity in this new frontier. This is not, in my opinion, a man-made item. It's a discovery. And if I'm right, and I truly believe that I am, then this can't be redone, that you can't rediscover the same thing, that discoveries are one-offs. They are one-time only events in the history of mankind. And that there is no second version of a discovery. There is no second version of fire. There's no fire 2.0. There's no electricity 2.0. Electricity was discovered in what, 600 AD? There was no new discovery or new version of electricity that came into being after 600 AD. There's no new atom. Millions of years, human life in various forms, millions of years, and only relatively recently do human beings discover the fact that there's an entire level of life that we never knew existed. An atomic level of life. There are smaller units of life that are floating around, moving around. Millions of years, we discovered that. Can there ever be a new version of an atom? Can we improve on the discovery? You can't improve on discoveries. Now, here's what people get mixed up. The innovations that occur on top of a discovery, there can be many of those. There can be many innovations. There can be inventions that come into being because of the discovery. But there can't be another discovery of the same thing. And so I think a lot of people confuse the discovery with the innovations on top of the discoveries. You see, the internet came into existence and gave birth to innovations. Innovative companies that built on top of the internet became the world's first trillion-dollar companies. Before the internet, there were no trillion-dollar companies, were there? No. But the companies that plugged into this new protocol, the companies that adapted and found a way to fit either create businesses tied into that protocol or to fit their existing businesses into that protocol, they became the trillion-dollar companies that we have today. And we never had trillion-dollar companies before. And before that, we never had billion-dollar companies before. And before that, we never had centimillion-dollar companies anymore. And before that, we didn't have million-dollar companies before. And before that, and before that, and before that. It's a progressive movement upward by those who adopt the new thing. And the internet gave birth to trillion-dollar companies, and Bitcoin, which is the next era of that entire evolutionary movement, right? The next era is Bitcoin, and Bitcoin will give life to the $10 trillion companies. But make no mistake about it, Bitcoin is not an invention. It is a discovery upon which companies will innovate, individuals will innovate, inventions will be made. And so that's what makes me a 13 percenter. That's what makes me Bitcoin only, because I truly believe Bitcoin is a discovery and everything else is an invention on top. Everything else is an innovation on top. You can have Manhattan, but you can't duplicate Manhattan. Can you build buildings on top of Manhattan? Yes. And inside of those buildings, can you have millions of apartments? Yes. Can you sell those different apartments and buy them and sell them to your heart's desire? Yes. Can you sell some of the buildings? Yes. The apartments go more frequently, the buildings go less frequently, but you can't duplicate the land on top of which all of that innovation is built. I believe Bitcoin is that. I believe Bitcoin is the discovery of a brand new base layer of life in a realm that we are starting to become more comfortable dealing in. And that realm is the digital world. Everything in our lives are being sucked into this new realm. Everything is being pulled. This new realm, this new digital realm that we are becoming more and more comfortable with as human beings, it is sucking in everything that we know, everything that we become accustomed to being in our lives are being sucked into this brand new realm called the digital realm. Our photos have disappeared there. I told you the story. My mother used to bore the neighbors every single time they came over coffee to show them the same 12 albums of my pictures when I was a baby. I'd say, Ma, this is the 17th time they've seen this. My mom would say, baby, just leave me alone. Maybe they missed a few. Here's Oliver when he was 8 months old. See him with the baseball? Always knew he'd be a good baseball player. She used to bore the neighbors with the same 12 albums of about 200 pictures. Do you know how many pictures I have in one of my 4 smartphones? 50,000 pictures. I've never touched them. I've never felt them physically. They live in this new realm called the digital realm. It doesn't make them less real, but they're there. Those pictures are there. They're real to me. They give me joy. They give people sometimes joy that see them. Our movies are gone. I remember leaving Wall Street on a Friday, dashing to the closest Blockbuster because a new movie was coming out and they would only get about 20 copies of the new movie. And if you did not get there before the vast majority of people who were also trying to rush to get one of the 20 copies of the brand new movie that was released that day, you were shit out of luck. I used to dart out of my office like a bat out of hell to try to grab one of the limited number of copies that the closest Blockbuster would have. I used to be able to, when I did get it, I would touch it and feel it and look at it, open it up, pop out the VHS tape and pop it into my VC player. When's the last freaking time you've touched a movie? When's the last time you put your hands on a movie? Touched it, felt it, looked at it? You probably can't even remember. This new realm has sucked into itself our movies. It has taken away our physical pictures. When's the last time you've licked a disgusting envelope and licked the back of a stamp and put a stamp on an envelope to mail a letter to your friend or your relative? When's the last time you've done that? Our mail is gone. Our music is gone. Our movies are gone. Thing after thing is being sucked into this new realm. And in this new realm, we discovered that there is something of value here. We never knew that that digital scarcity could ever exist in this digital realm. We never knew it. We thought it was not there. But lo and behold, someone discovered it, that it is here. The same way we have physical scarcity in the physical analog world, we have, oh my God, it's here too. There's digital scarcity here too. And you can't recreate that. Scarcity cannot be created by a human being. I'm going to repeat that for you. Scarcity has not been given to the human being. Providence has not given the human being the ability to create scarcity. That is why the human being honors scarcity. That is why, for whatever reason, throughout the ages, scarcity has always been honored. Scarcity has always been sought after. There is something intrinsic in the human being that is just simply attracted to what is scarce. Now, we can try to go down the rabbit hole of why that is. I think that's a different discussion. But that is an irrefutable fact that throughout the ages, we have always been naturally and intrinsically attracted to scarcity. And providence has not given the human being the ability to create it, but it is built into the human being to honor it. And we found it and we discovered it in this new realm called the digital realm that seems to be sucking our entire existences into it. The digital world is the ultimate black hole. It's absorbing everything. And you, my friends, had better get used to more and more things that you hold dear in the old world, the analog world, the physical world, to the non-physical world. The world of the non-physical is bigger, it is more infinite and more powerful. Look at what the atom can do. Look at what's splitting the atom, something that is not necessarily in the physical world. Splitting the atom can destroy our physical world. That's how much power is there. And then let's not talk about the subatomic life, the ozone, the neutrons, the protons, the electrons. And then let's not talk about splitting the electrons and going subelectronic level to the ozons, the bosons, the subatomic life that's not in the physical world. Bigger, more powerful, more ubiquitous, more infinite. And so I just went off on a tangent as to why I call myself a 13 percenter. I'm a part of the 13% who believes all of these things, but there is no other. And it's my mission to try to convince some of you to become part of the 13% club too. All right. Well, guys, I wanted to, I was actually inspired to do this space on this topic today. I was inspired to do this space by a follower who had made a comment, and I felt earnestness and sincerity in the comment. And I responded to him in a lengthy way with the idea that I would use that lengthy response as the basis for my talk today. Now, I want to apologize up front for boring. I'm about to bore my traders. If any of my traders are sort of participating in this talk today, I apologize to you because you have heard the story I'm about to tell a billion times. And so you're going to have to hear it again today. I think it's ties perfectly into the point I want to make today about my theme as to the real reason you don't buy Bitcoin. And I'm speaking directly to people who are here because something has called them to Bitcoin, but they won't buy it. And I'm going to tell you what the reason is. And I'm going to explain why the reason you don't buy Bitcoin is faulty and why you should break it. All right. But let me see if I can do this really fast, very quickly. I want to go to my response. All right. So I want to start off by telling you a story. In the last spaces, I told you a story about I have twin girls. They're 17 now. They're about to turn 18. But I have so many stories about these two little girls because they so dramatically affected my life. And I told a story during my last spaces, but I want to share another story about my twin girls, which ties into our topic today. It's amazing how two people born within a minute of each other can be so similar, but also be so different. One of my twin girls is more musical than the other. And this is something that we noticed at a very early age. But the other one is actually more talented in the arts in terms of drawing, in terms of creating things. One is very musical, and one is very artistic in a different way. And we detected this talent very early on in one of my baby girls, that she could draw with a degree of accuracy that was beyond her age. And I remember one afternoon, all of a sudden, she starts screaming at the top of her lungs. And I rush to her. I find that she's at the kitchen table and she's bawling. She is got her knees drawn to her chin. She's holding her two knees, grasping them, and literally crying and shivering into her knees. Tears are falling all down her knees, her legs. I said, "Baby, what happened? What happened? What happened? Tell me what is going on." And she doesn't even look up. She just points at the table. And she was pointing, and I see that she drew a picture. She's pointing to the picture she drew. And she drew a monster. And I'm like, "Baby, what are you pointing to? Are you pointing to your picture?" And she says, yes, Daddy, look. And I said, "Well, what's the problem?" And she says, "I'm scared of it, Daddy, scared of it, Daddy. Can you move it? Can you get it away from me? Can you get it away from me?" And so I take the picture away. I grab her and I start talking to her. I said, "Sweetheart, listen, there is no need to be afraid of your own creations. You created this monster. This monster's life is derived from you, from your imagination. It doesn't gain a life outside of the life you gave it. It's your own mental creation. Now, it didn't help very much, actually, but I tell you that story as the basis for what I see and what I have seen over the past 3 decades. I've been training traders for 3 decades, from professionals starting on I train traders from virtually every single firm on Wall Street, all the way down to your average guy on Main Street. And this ties into what I have seen for 30 years that holds people back from acting, from taking advantage of opportunity. And it locks them out of wealth building opportunities all the time. And what they do to prevent themselves from seizing an opportunity, what they do to prevent themselves from acting when they might even be called to act, what stops them is their own mental creations. They create their own monsters. Now, let me give you an example of let's tie this let's tie this in to, if I may, to my response to an individual. And then I want to show you some charts here. I think I posted this, but I will post it so you can take a look at what I'm talking about. This person says, Oliver, I agree with you on the broad historical pattern that Bitcoin bottoms every single 4 years this way. So, guys, Bitcoin bottoms every single January. It starts its brand new life every single January, 2 Januaries before the halving, or 2 Januaries before the US presidential election. It's virtually mathematically designed to do so. Bitcoin is math. Every single January, 2 Januaries before the halving. So the halving is 2024. All right. Not the January of 2024, but the January before 2023 starts a brand new up move every single time. Now, in truth, the bottom happens within a zone. It typically happens between September and December, but the up move starts in January. So January, 2 years before the halving, always starts a brand new life. It has done this since its first epoch, its first cycle, and it has never not done it. So this person, I show this image to say, this is why Bitcoin is not going to new lows. Look, once it bottoms in this January, it never does. So this person says, Oliver, I agree with you on this broad historical pattern. I see it. It's very difficult not to agree. It's clear as day. However, he says, I don't know that anyone knows that Bitcoin will never see 15,000 again. It may not, he says, but it also may. And here is the issue. So my response to him is this, and you'll see how the story about my daughter fits into this. So I said, listen, you've motivated me to do a space on this today. I hope you attend. So I hope he's here. In the meantime, I'll give you a precursor of what I'll discuss, which I'm discussing now. So I go on to say, okay, let's look at how your comment sounds to me. His comment sounds to me like this: Tuesday of last week has already happened. I understand this. I understand that Tuesday of last week already happened. However, I don't know that anyone knows that today, this Tuesday, will never see last Tuesday again. It may not, but it may. So what I did there is basically just, I use his own words to show how ridiculous I think that view is based on days of the week. If this Tuesday, if Tuesday always follows Monday, and it always has, why are we intent on imagining that never happening and giving that imagination more importance than what has always happened in our entire lives? Our entire lives, Tuesday follows Monday. Why would we even entertain the fact or the idea that it's possible for Tuesday to start before Monday? Like, why are we why do we create these fanciful imaginations in our mind of something that has never happened? Just like my daughter, she creates a monster that doesn't really exist and then convinces herself that she should be fearful of what doesn't exist. This guy, I'm showing him right in his face that after January, every single time, that's the bottom. And once it starts going, it never comes back there. Never, ever. It has never done that. But it seems as though so many people would rather, well, I know this has happened every single time in my life. I know I've never seen anything different. I see that. That's very clear. But now here it comes. What if? So they create a what if that never happened in their life. Then, just like my daughter creates the monster that doesn't happen, that's not real. They create this thing that's not real, that's never happened. They give it, then they start giving it importance. My daughter starts giving it life. They start giving this mental image that has never happened before. It's their own creation. They're giving it life by saying, well, this could happen, but it never has happened. Why should something that never happened get your attention? Why should you give that more credence than the thing that's happened for real every single time? And all this is a Freudian way to just not act. You see, acting takes courage. Acting takes conviction. It is not as easy as most people think to act. That is why the few actors that emerge in life get honored. Men of action, women of action, people that do in the face of what I'm going to call certainty. It is not easy to act. It is easier to not act. So because it's easier to sit and do nothing, because it's easier not to take a step forward and to stand still, we give things that never existed greater importance than things that have existed and continue to exist and that are real. We'd rather give life to the monsters we create in our head, but what if it goes below 15,000 again? We'd rather give life to that, which it never has happened in life. It's never happened. We'd rather give it more importance than what has happened, because deep inside, we're scared. We're scared of being wrong. Deep inside, we really don't want to act. Deep inside, we really don't want to commit. So we create a reason that is not even real and give that unreal reason more importance than what is real. Guys, I built my entire career playing what repeats itself. That is what a successful market participant does. He finds something that's seasonal, a seasonality, a pattern that repeats itself. Nothing can repeat itself 100% of the time, but you can get things that have an 80% repeatable rate, even a 90% repeatable rate. You can find something that is so seasonal that you should bet that way every single time that season comes into being. That you shouldn't create a different season. You shouldn't say, well, I know summer follows spring, but maybe this time summer comes before spring. Like, that's not how you become successful playing anything. Thinking about and giving credence to what has never happened. You give credence to what has happened 80 to 90% before. That's how you make it in this business. That's how you seize opportunity. That's how you play intelligently. Creating these creating these images that have never happened in your mind is mental masturbation. That's what it is. Why even waste time pondering what has never happened in life before instead of playing the reality of what has always happened? Now, let me post this here. I want to post this. Let me see if I can post this here. I always don't know how to do these things here. Share post via Nope, I don't know how. But I'll do it through my phone. So I just want to make sure that everyone has this image that I'm referring to here. I'm going to post two things. I'm going to post this. Boom. I just posted that. That'll be coming right now. Send that now. And then I'm going to post this as well. Give me a second here. No. And I am going to post this. Boom. There we go. Now, if you take a look at that, I posted two images in our space here. Okay. And let's take the first one at the top here that you should see. All right. Guys, if you don't mind, just like these so that I can know, like these images I just posted so I can know that you see them. All right, just like them. I just want to see a few likes come across and see. All right, I see it. Okay, good. Good. Thank you. So let's take the top one of the chart. All right, guys. Now, take a look at, let me drop my mic here. Take a look at the Januaries. Now, this chart is a bit outdated. We know that Bitcoin is hovering around 34,000 now, but that's not the point. The point's the lows. Now, we always have to remove the first part of Bitcoin when it comes to these cyclical patterns, right? Because it wasn't a full, complete 4 years. I'm constantly trying to remind you that Bitcoin doesn't have a birthday every year. Its birthday is in leap years. So it has a birthday every 4 years. And so 1 year is equivalent to 4 years in Bitcoin time, right? And so because Bitcoin came into existence in 2009 and its first halving was in 2012, it didn't have a complete 4-year cycle. So we start from 2012. So anyway, when you take all of Bitcoin's 4-year cycles, and admittedly, we don't have a lot of data points for this, but we do have some. And so we can only use what we have. We can't create the ones that aren't there yet. So what you'll find is that the January before the year of the halving puts in the low. All right. Every single time. Now, the low, when I say January, it's really more of a zone. That actual low can happen September, October, November, December, but at least by January you have the low. That's what I really want to communicate here. By January, you have the low. The low is in. The year before the halving, every single year. Every single Bitcoin year, which is every 4 years. So every single cycle. And Bitcoin is math. Now, if we go to the next image that I posted here, and you look at the pattern here. Now, start from the top and go down. 2011, 2012, 3 years up, 1 year down. Bottom 15, boom, go, right? So the first green is the bottom that starts the move up. So see that green dot at 2015? That's January 2015. 3 years up, 1 year down. All right. 3 years up, 19, 20, 21, 1 year down. Now we're in the first green move or ball here again. Why would someone looking at this say a red should be next? Why? Why would you create in your mind a picture that doesn't exist and then give that picture life like my daughter did and start to get scared of it? Oh my God, Oliver, I'm scared that we're going to go back to 2022. The low in the red dot was 15 and change, 15,800 or whatever. That was the low in the red dot, 2022. Why, looking at this pattern, would you think that the green dot, which is now we're in 2023, should actually go back to the red dot in 2022? Just freaking look at the pattern. After 3 greens, you don't get a red. I mean, after 3 greens and a red, you don't get another red. The green ball after the red doesn't go back to the red ever. So all of this talk about, well, Bitcoin is going to revisit the lows, it's never happened. Bitcoin's going to go to new lows. It's never happened. Every time there's a red year and green year starts, it's never a red one again until 3. Now, am I saying that it's absolutely impossible that this pattern can't break? No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying it's stupid to think it's going to break before it breaks. It's stupid to play what never happened. Sure, we could get hit by a meteor tomorrow and none of this matters, but should I make decisions based on that? Should I? Sure, a superior alien race could descend on planet Earth and enslave us all? But should I actually start making life decisions based on that? We can create fanciful possibilities all day long, but that's not how you should be basing your life. That's not, you don't base decisions on what's never happened ever. You base decisions on what life shows you is reliable. This is reliability. For the first time, Bitcoin has come into our lives to deliver a level of certainty that man has been incapable of doing. We've tried this error with our wealth in the hands of someone else. They've proven they've proven unworthy. Human beings have proven unworthy to hold my wealth from me. They've proven unreliable. Bitcoin has proven reliable. Things in the control of humans have always eventually broken down. Humans have proven to be unreliable. Humans that have power and control have proven to be unreliable. People that we give the right to dictate things about our life, they have proven to be unreliable. Humans that we've given our trust to have proven to be unreliable. People that we've said holds my wealth for me, they've proven to be unreliable. For the first time, something has come into our lives to say, you know what? Let's forget about giving all of these rights to another human being. I've come that I'm not human, but I've come to deliver a certainty that you can bank on. You can save in me forever, because here's my monetary policy up front for 150 years. Here it is. I will change nothing. I will do nothing different. Every 10 minutes, I will produce a block. You know exactly how much every 10 minutes I'm going to produce, all the way to the year 2140. You can plan with me now, because you know, and I will never change. I will never make a promise. I will never alter something. I will never say, oopsie, sorry, I have to change that. Bitcoin is math. Bitcoin is code, and math and code doesn't care about a recession. Math and code, 1 + 1 = 2. It doesn't matter if there's a recession. 1 + 1 = 2. It doesn't matter if the Fed's raising interest rates. 1 + 1 = 2. It doesn't matter if you're scared of the picture you've drawn in your mind. 1 + 1 = 2. It doesn't matter if you believe that anything is possible, Oliver, but 1 + 1 = 2. Bitcoin is math. Bitcoin is code. And for the first time, listen, I would rather give my faith to mathematics than to another human being now. I would rather give my faith. I would rather bank on the fact that 1 + 1 = 2 every single time. I'd rather bank my whole life on that than trust a human being to stay consistent for me. It's never happened. Consistency with human beings have never happened. Why should I bet that way instead of betting with math that's never failed? 1 + 1 = 2. 1 + 1 was 2 for my parents. 1 + 1 = 2 was true for my grandparents, for their parents, for their grandparents. And so we hold ourselves back. This is why so many people have not committed to this. They're drawn to it, but they're scared. Like my daughter, they've got their knees drawn to their chin, crying and sobbing inside, wondering why they can't act. Paralyzed by this fear that, what if I'm wrong? What if it goes back to the lows? And you know what? I, for one, say, so what? Most of these people who are typing on Twitter, X, or whatever you want to call it today, most of these Twitter people fighting me and challenging me on these things, they don't have money anyway. So what are they really scared of? What they're scared of, I'm going to buy $100 of Bitcoin and it's going to go to $50. That's what they're scared of. Think about that. So what? What's that? Most of them have nothing to really fear, but they're still gripped by fear. How crazy is that? It's wild to me. I'm scared of I'm scared of my $100 going to $50. It's absolutely insane. If you find anything that I say, even remotely of interest, I encourage you to watch yourself that way. I do this with my traders. I catch them all the time. They will tell you. If any of them are listening here, they will tell you. I do this all the time. I'm like, why are you creating a scenario that doesn't exist instead of just playing what's in your face? And it always starts with but. But I said, get your butt out of the way. I don't want to see it. I don't want to see your butt. I don't want to hear about your butt. I don't want to know about your butt. Get your butt, keep your butt away from me. And let's just focus on what's in your face now. What is that? That's a red bar, Oliver. All right, what was before it? A green bar. And what have I taught you? That a red bar that follows a green bar has what? An 82% follow-through rate. What does that mean? Another red bar should follow. All right, now, just play that. Stop creating. But what if it's a green bar after? And I catch them doing this all the time. Like, stop creating. Do you realize that in religious parlance, and I don't want to offend anybody's religion here, but my mother was a devout Christian, which pretty much meant that I grew up in a devout Christian home, right? So the bottom line is that throughout most of my childhood, I was doused in, the Christian faith and the stories and the parables and the Bible and whatever. But I will say this, that if you're familiar with that faith, Christianity, you'll know the story of Lucifer, the devil, who was literally kicked out of the kingdom of heaven and all of his supporters and cast down on earth. And if you know the story, the cause was exactly what we're talking here about. Lucifer was kicked out of the kingdom of heaven for exactly the same reason you are kicked out of the kingdom of heaven called Bitcoin. They're kicked out because what Lucifer said is, I am God. You're not God. I am God. What I say is real, not what you say. And because of this, I am God. I create reality. Lucifer got kicked out of his opportunity. Lucifer lost his wealth. Lucifer lost his opportunity, and all those who supported Lucifer, got kicked out of Bitcoin. Now, if you're not following, this is what you do. You say, you create a picture in your mind of Bitcoin going back to 15,000. This doesn't exist. It only exists in your mind. Bitcoin's not at 15,000. Bitcoin has never gone back to the lows after the January low, right? So you don't have any basis for this. It is pure imagination. It's your imagination. It's your own creation. And what you are telling life itself, what you are telling the reality is, I create reality, not you. It is my creation that counts. It is not what has happened that counts. It's what I have created in my own mind. I am God. I am the manufacturer of reality, not you. Life, you're not life. You don't create reality. I created it. And so therefore, since it's my creation, I will base all of my decisions based on my creation because I am God. And therefore, you are kicked out of your opportunities. You are kicked out of heaven because you believe your own mental masturbation. Masturbation. That's why you don't buy Bitcoin. Because of the monster you drew on a piece of paper and are now afraid of. And so I just encourage that you look at that you stop that. I believe that Bitcoin is the biggest opportunity that human beings have ever had. We should drop to our knees and worship the very God that we do, and thank the very God that we worship, that we are living at a time where it can be bought and adopted, because I think this time is going to rapidly disappear. Guys, there's $15 trillion waiting to come in. 15 trillion. Do you understand this? Do you get this? There's 15 trillion that we know of waiting. You don't believe me? Waiting to come into this. Let me see if I can show you this. Let me do it. Let me post it for you. I'm going to show you the number. Let me see if I can do this. Give me a second. I will get it to you. Let's do it. Take a look at this, guys, and tell me this is not crazy. I just posted it. Let's see. Boom. All right, like the picture just so I know that you see it and you're looking at it. Just like it for me. Just a few of you, if you'll be so kind. Just want to see if you like. I see them. Okay, I see the likes. Guys, this is every firm in America only that is filed for a Bitcoin spot ETF. Look at what they have waiting. Now, okay, I'm not saying that all $15.2 trillion is going to move into Bitcoin. But what I do know is that when America approved the first gold ETF, I was there. It was in 2020. It was in 2004. And I had all of my traders, all of them. Do you understand? And me, my family, we piled into GLD in January of 2005. I took tax loss sales on anything that was negative in my account, and I put in December of 2004, and I put everything from those sales into the GLD gold spot ETF. Now, mind you, at that time, many countries, other countries had spot gold ETFs. Just like with Bitcoin, everyone's wondering, when are we going to get one? When are we going to get one? People don't know this history. So it's very normal for me to know that this is the same pattern that was before with gold. Other countries started popping up with gold ETFs, and we were kind of late. But when we did, oh my God, first it went down a little bit, and then it exploded with a vengeance and went on an 8-year tear to the upside, with maybe one hiccup during the financial crisis of 2009. It was freaking nonstop. Do you understand? If you go back to my Facebook page, you will see photos of me. You will see me post pounding the table on gold back in 2007, 2008. I'm pounding the table, begging you. I'm showing you pictures of solid gold and solid silver next to me, showing you I'm accumulating it physically, and I'm in this GLD. 8-year run to the upside. Now, what I know happened there is that when America approved its first spot gold ETF, GLD, all right, what it did was every single firm, I mean, every single firm, every mutual fund company, every money management firm, every financial institution, every broker started selling to their clients. You've got to have a 2 to 3% allocation to metals, to gold. Every single one. It became a mantra. You couldn't turn on the TV without hearing, well, you should have some in gold. You should have at least 1 to 2% of all of your assets in gold. It's the stabilizer of a portfolio. It's the flight to safety asset. It's, and you need that kind of 1 to 2% anchor. Every single one. Now, what if they did the same thing? Who's to say they won't do the same thing? You've got freaking Larry Fink on television saying, we believe it's the flight to safety asset. Are you freaking kidding me? That's the top one right there, BlackRock, 9 trillion. We think it's the flight to safety asset. Then what else did he say? We think it's a way for people around the world to protect themselves against the debasement of their fiat currencies. Are you kidding me? Has he been snooping at one of my spaces? What the fuck? This dude is saying my words. Seriously? The $9 trillion dude is saying my words? This is insane. Do you understand? So I've seen this movie play out, guys. I've seen the gold ETF come into existence, and I've seen every single professional in the world say, you got to their clients, you got to have 1 to 2% of this. Now, remember, this generates fees for all of those people. So they got you. It's not regular that you get a chance to promote a brand new item that doesn't exist. You can see the dollar signs in these people that say, you mean now I have something new to pitch to every single one of my clients and I can get the fees from that? This new asset classes come into being what? Once in a generation? Like the last one was freaking gold. Think about that, guys. The last one was gold. What came into existence before gold? Stocks. That's 240 years ago. What came into existence before stocks? Bonds. That's like 600 years ago. Guys, we don't get new asset classes very frequently. Do you understand how huge this is? This is a brand new asset class. Now, all these people say, we have decades of putting people into this and earning fees. And so, what if they say 1 to 2%? You need 1 to 2% in gold. I mean, in Bitcoin, like they did with gold. What's 1 to 2% of 15? And we're only talking about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We're talking about 9 companies. And there's how many in the world? But let's just keep it here. 1 to 2% of 15 trillion. Where does that take Bitcoin? Well, I'll give you the formula for it, because I believe it was Bank of America's formula, right? It's for every $1. Someone correct me if I'm wrong with this. My numbers might be off a little bit, but it really doesn't matter. For every $1 that goes into Bitcoin, it's equivalent to $148 of increased value to the Bitcoin network. The network effects are exponential. Finite, not only scarce, provably scarce, and not only provably scarce, finite. We've never had a finite item in the world. Do you understand this? Do you catch the significance of this, people? We've never had something finite. We've only had scarcity. But the evolutionary process keeps taking us higher. Now we have scarcity and we have finite. We have something that literally has a finite number to it. This has never existed, ever. And it's an asset class? Are you freaking kidding me? 1 to 2%. Think of what's 1 to 2% of 15 trillion. Get that number times 148. That's how you come up with the possibility of where Bitcoin can go. But I say they're going to go straight to the second phase. What was the second phase? When they launched the first gold Bitcoin ETF, which I was in, all the way to 2021. I stayed in gold from 2000. I stayed in GLD from 2005 to 2021. I kept putting into it. In fact, it is that stopped me from appreciating Bitcoin for a while, until it started making me appreciate Bitcoin. It's really crazy like that, how gold was my impediment to seeing Bitcoin. And then it became the reason I saw Bitcoin. It served both purposes. Wild. And I think it was that 12-year period of it, gold just languishing and doing nothing, even though I turned that period into a big money making period, because I bought the dip. I bought the multi-year decline in gold. And when it rocked all the way to new highs or close to new highs in 2020, 2021, I sold it all and put every single penny into Bitcoin. Now, what happened with the gold ETF is, first it was a 1 to 2% allocation, and then it went to a 5% allocation, and then as much as a 10% allocation. They stepped it up. I think they go straight to 5. I think they split the baby this time. I think the recommendation is going to be 5% allocation to Bitcoin. Now take 15 trillion just from these companies, not all the companies in the world, but these companies. Take 15 trillion, take 5% of that, right? Multiply that by 148, and that's the potential that we have here. The initial potential. That's crazy to me, guys. That is crazy to me. And so why am I talking about this in connection to this topic that I wanted to address, why you don't buy Bitcoin? Because this is what is real. These numbers I'm showing you, this numbers is real. It's real that these people have spot Bitcoin ETF applications. It's real what happened to gold when the spot ETF was finally approved. That's real. It's real that gold went on an 8-year tear straight to the upside. It's real that everybody, every financial firm in the world started recommending 1 to 2%, then 5%, then 10% allocation to gold. That's real. That's not imagined. You saying Bitcoin could go to new lows, that's what's not real. You saying, but it might revisit 15,000, that's not real. That's in your mind. Who are you to create reality and to defy what is real, to defy what has always happened, to defy what has happened, to defy what's literally in your face right now, and to defy it, to defame it, to disrespect the real for your imagined picture on the kitchen table with your knees drawn to your chin, crying like a freaking baby. Maybe we should just call you Lucifer. Wait, let's see if this. I want to see if I can find this. Oh, yeah, I can't. Wait a minute. I can't find it. I'll post it later. Oh, yes. So I'm not quite sure if you guys have. I'm going to post this for you right now. It's just too important. This was an actual leaked document, right? What am I doing here? I want to post this. I got to do it before I let you go. I got to do it. I got to do it. Now, you guys do your own research on this, but check this out. Got to do it. I got to do it. Just have to. Sorry, got to. Here it is. I'm going to post it. This was actually leaked, guys. Take a look at it. Like it again, just to let me know that you see it. We're talking about 1 to 2%, maybe 5%. Look at what was leaked. What someone leaked from inside of BlackRock, that the real hidden strategy, BlackRock recommends holding 85% of your portfolio in Bitcoin to maximize gains. This is what was leaked in late 2022, right after BlackRock launched its own private Bitcoin ETF. Its own private one. Remember that? You guys remember that? Wow. You guys remember. And just in case you don't, remember, I'm going to do this too. Why not? Why not do this one too? Yeah, why not? It's my show. Yeah. Yeah, that's the ticket. That's the ticket. Why did he talk like that? All right. Let's see. Boom. Dude, they launched a private one. They launched a private ETF for their own people, their own insiders first, August 11th, 2022. Then this document gets released. This is what they're recommending to their, you need 85% of this. I'm telling you, here's what I think. I think their best clients got in August and September of 2022, right near the bottom, right? This got leaked as to what they were telling their best clients, the people with trillions, hundreds of billions with them. They're like, dude, you got to put 85% in. You got to do it. 85%. I can imagine what 85? What? Yeah, dude, I'm telling you. We're coming out with the spot ETF next year. We're filing for that. I'm telling you, it's going to be good. You got to do 85%. Really? Yeah. Just trust us. And this shit got leaked. And freaking almost a year later, after they launched this in August 11th. In June, they filed for a spot Bitcoin ETF the following year. This shit is planned out, guys. Put the dots together. I'm not creating something like this other guy. It could go to 15, Oliver. This is not fanciful. This is not mental masturbation on my part. I'm showing you fact. These are facts right here. This is real. And so if you're betting on something that is not real, then maybe we should just call you Lucifer. Oliver, I am God. I say what's real. I create what's real. This picture that I have in my mind of this picture that I drew in my mind of Bitcoin going to new lows, that's what's real. My creation is real. Not yours, Oliver, mine. I am God. Never gonna make it. Never gonna make playing the pictures in your mind, guys. You're never gonna make it betting on the pictures you draw. I'm telling you. Our thoughts betray us. Our beliefs betray us. Our feelings betray us. These are our real enemies. Our thoughts, our beliefs, our feelings. And so whenever you need to believe something, then you've already gone down the wrong rabbit hole. Because one does not have to believe that you are you. If I were to ask you, let me see who's in here. I'm gonna take a look at a few names here. Who's in here? Can I see that? There's 17 listeners. I can see some of your names. I think I have to see it on my phone here. But if I take I'm gonna grab a name here. So it takes someone like Lucas is a listener here. Or no, Jason. I'll take Jason. Jason's a listener here. And I say, Jason, what's your name? I believe my name is Jason. No, I know my name is Jason. When you know there is no need for belief, right? Is that your wife sitting next to you? Oh, nice to meet you, Jason. Is that your wife sitting next to you? Well, what if Jason said, well, let me see. I think she's my wife. I believe she's my wife. I mean, she was my wife when we left the house 90 minutes ago. I mean, she was my wife in the car. She's my wife when we got out of the car. She's my wife when we sat down. Yeah, I think she's my wife. Like, are you kidding me? If Jason did that, he'd live to see another day, right? When you know, there is no need for belief. People ask me, so when you're believing, it means you don't know. And when you act on a belief, it means you're acting from a state of uncertainty. Because if you knew, there would be no need to believe. You can only believe. If I were to ask you, and I always use this example, how many miles from where you are now to the center of Times Square in Manhattan, you would have to think, and maybe you'd say, I think, but the moment you have to think because you don't know, you have to maybe believe. I believe that's more or less correct, 6,000 miles or whatever. I believe that's more or less correct. You have to believe because you don't know. But when I ask you your name, you don't have to believe. And I have to say, is that your wife sitting next to you? You don't have to believe. If I have to say what day it is, it's Tuesday. You don't have to believe that. You don't have to think. So when you're thinking and you're believing, it means you don't know. If you don't know, it means you're uncertain. When you're uncertain and then act from that, how can that render consistency? How can consistency come from acting from a state of uncertainty, which is created by thinking and believing? So we have to get to a place where we know and then act. Actions that spring from knowing are actions that are powerful, are actions that are strong. So how do we get there? By what I'm showing you in your face. Look at the balls again. 3 green up, one red, 3 green balls, 1 red, followed by 3 green balls, 1 red, followed by 3 green balls, 1 red. I know that. There's no belief that needs to come into being. Go to the other thing. I know that on my chart that the January before the halving, the 2 Januaries before the halving is always the beginning of the green ball after the red one. Every single time. I know this. There's no need for believing. I know that all of these, if I go to this image of the 15.2, I know that all of these firms have a spot ETF application. I know that they have trillions of dollars. And I know that once they get approved, a portion of that is going into Bitcoin. That's not fanciful thinking. That's not thinking. That's not believing. I know this. I know what happened with GLD, the first gold ETF. I know what they said, what they did, what they promoted. I know that it went on an 8-year run straight to the upside after that. These are not my imaginations. These are not my beliefs. This is not my thinking. This is not what I feel. This is what I freaking know. I bet on what I know. I bet on what I see. I bet on what is real. I don't bet on fancifuls, but I don't bet on buts. But Oliver, what about this? But Oliver, what about that? Oliver, what if the earth stops spinning on its axis, Oliver? What if the aliens come, Oliver? What if Tuesday stops following Monday, Oliver? What if, but, and that's how they sound. They sound like that, weak. But Oliver. Oh my God. You guys crack me up. Seriously, you crack me up. All right, let me see if you have any questions, guys. I crack my own self up sometimes. Oh, I like that image. Bitcoin facts. I like that image. That's better than mine. I'm jealous. I'm going to steal that. No, I'm going to borrow that Bitcoin facts, that image. I like that. Now, listen, this is how it goes, Bitcoin facts, and anyone else who wants to share something with me. I just want to let you know up front. All right. I want full transparency here. The first time I use something that you send me, I will give you credit. The second time I use it, I will forget. I will mention that I can't remember who sent this to me. And then the third time, it's mine. All right. So I just want you to know what the pattern is. You get full credit the first time I use it. The second time, I can't remember who sent me, but this is interesting. And the third time, look at mine. Look at my thing. Look at my post. I love that image, by the way, Bitcoin Facts. I like that. All right. Yes, they are scared. Say it rapid. That's right. Thanks, Oliver. It's interesting because I always thought 3.5 years of bear market and about 5 months of bull run, but seeing this makes sense. Yes, that is absolutely incorrect. That typically you have 3 years of a run and 1 year down. And I see the same mistake being made now where people are saying, we're still in a bear market. How? Look, just how are we in a bear market? We're up 107%. How is that a freaking, in what world is that a bear market? We're still in Bitcoin's bear market. We're still waiting for the bull market. Wait, what do you need? A billion percent? You need 100,000%? Like, what number is it to you that we're in a bit where we've become a bull market? Like, I am stupefied, guys. I'm literally blown away sometimes. Like guys, I wish you could see me sometimes, like reading a comment, and I just have to go back in my chair and like wonder, uh, is there a level of is there a realm of intelligence that I just don't know about? It's wild to me. 107%, and we're in a bear market. That the bull market hasn't started. On what planet does that even exist? In what other asset would people say that? That's crazy to me. And in a way, it just dawned on me what might be the incentive for that stupidity is that people think a bull market is a new high. And that's the worst idea you should hold, especially on an 80 vol asset. You can't miss us. You can't wait for an asset to double itself 6 times and then say, oh, we've just started the bull market. Like it's double 6 times and now we're starting the bull market. Dude, you're always going to be late with views like that. Bull markets don't start at their new highs. I teach my traders to start selling things at new highs because bozos like you come in at new highs thinking that's the beginning. Now, I won't do that with Bitcoin because it's a different beast, but they will tell you we sell new highs. Crazy. Bitcoin is here to stay no matter what they try to stop it. That's right, guys. I have the funniest post that I'm going to do right after I get off the spaces, guys. I hope you like it, but it is going to touch on something that I think is extraordinarily important. The halving, I like that image. I do have that image, Zane, of the halving and how early we are. That's beautiful. All right. Calvin saying, Oliver, you always speak in what we should know versus what we think. That's right. Calvin knows. Don't think, no. Don't think, no. Yes. Okay, guys. I think let me see what else. Anybody else here? Do no harm. Oliver, I'm a big fan, but the Bitcoin ETF isn't the same as the gold ETF because the gold ETF allowed all to buy gold digitally instead of physically. Bitcoin is already digital. Your thoughts? Okay, I think Do No Harm is touching on some interesting things. What makes what makes Bitcoin different than gold? What makes this ETF different is that it is a true bearer asset, whereas that gold's bearer qualities were co-opted decades before. The United States made gold illegal for citizens to hold in 1933. And it was illegal. My father started accumulating gold during its illegal phase back in the mid 1960s. It was still illegal for Americans to actually possess gold of any import, of any quantity of import. So for instance, you could have a gold ring or something like that, but to store it as a store of value was against the law. And I think you were subject up to 10 years imprisonment. And so gold has been gold was the world's really true first bearer asset, bearer store of value, where the individual had sovereignty because they possessed it. And this was taken away all over the world. Gold was taken away from its citizens in large quantities. It was centralized, and then those central entities were taken over or co-opted by the powers that be, the nation states, the governments, the lords, and so forth and so on. And so gold is no longer the bearer asset that it once was because the vast majority of its supply is in the hands of a few. And so Bitcoin is different in the way that it is, once again, a true bearer asset that you can't take away. It is a bearer asset that you can't confiscate, that you can't steal. Yes, you can torture someone, and maybe through that torture, they give it up. But that giving it up is still their choice. They could choose to die. You still need the individual to give it up. You can't take it against his or her will. And so because of that, Bitcoin is something you can't F with. If BlackRock or these guys try to F with Bitcoin, I promise you, Bitcoin's going to take them down. You can't play games extensively with an asset that I can take custody of or have custody of. In order to play around, you need control of the majority of the supply, and that is impossible today. It is too decentralized, and that's the power of decentralization. You can't collect all the pieces out there and gain control of the majority. You can't do it today. Now, I believe that part of the incentive of these ETFs is to do just that, to get a lot of the pieces under one umbrella, if you will. But I believe that's futile. I don't believe the ETF, by the way, is all good. But ultimately, everything for Bitcoin turns out to be good. But I don't think that the incentives are all good. I don't think that the motives are all good. They never are in the financial world. So it's naive to think that. But I don't think that any of those potential ill-willed things can ever really dramatically affect Bitcoin in a negative way. Ultimately, Bitcoin is built for attack. That when you attack it, it gets stronger. It's literally built this way. This is not just me saying this, guys. It has been designed to get bigger and stronger with each attack. So Bitcoin stays at the level of its power and strength when there are no attacks. It actually becomes more powerful after an attack. This is literally in its code. It's designed to come back stronger every single time. And it makes it the ultimate apex predator. It makes it the ultimate unbeatable thing. And because it lives in a world that you can't touch, how do you combat it? How do you combat something that's nowhere and everywhere at the same time? How do you combat 12 words in my head? Calvin, 12 words in your head. Who else is here? Terry, Toner, 12 words in your head. Wadi, 12 words in your head. Say it, Rabbit, 12 words in your head. How do you combat words? How do you make maths not maths? How do you make 1 + 1 not equal 2? It lives beyond the reach of everything that we've had we've used to conquer things. It is outside of the reach of everything. Do you shoot it with an M16? Do you blow it up with a nuke? How do you do that? Do you ban the letters that make the word? Do you ban B? Did you outlaw the letter B because B stands for Bitcoin? From this day forward, thou shalt never use the word B because B stands for Bitcoin. We have banished it from our language. How do you do that? Do you understand that Bitcoin is you? Because you are your word. You ever hear that saying, I am my bond? I am my bond. I am my word. You are your Bitcoin because Bitcoin is your words. And as long as you exist and wherever you go, there is your Bitcoin. There is you. That you and Bitcoin are inextricably intertwined. There is no separation. This is how unique this thing is. It actually is our own value. Bitcoin is the representation of your worth, your very being. You've put time out into the world to get it, right? You put your energy out into the world to get it. You put your work out into the world to get it. You put your effort out into the world to get it. In exchange for that, you get Bitcoin. So the Bitcoin represents what? Your life, your energy, your time. Everything you put out into the world, you got back in the form of Bitcoin. That's proof of work, proof of your value. Bitcoin is proof that you put work out there. Bitcoin is proof that you sacrifice time. Bitcoin is proof that you gave something of value. Otherwise, how do you have it? That's proof of work. It's not freaking proof of stake. No, let me create my own stake out of thin air. And you have to purchase it, but I can create it out of thin air. And let me convince you that this is the next best thing so that you can help make my stake more valuable. It's not proof of stake. Anyone who has Bitcoin, you know, if you have Bitcoin, you're valuable because you had to put value out into the world. You had to work. You had to put energy out there. You had to sacrifice time. Otherwise, there's no way that Bitcoin can come to you. It's proof of work. It's proof of value. So if you don't have value, you are valueless in this new world. In this new realm, you have zero value because Bitcoin is the manifestation of your value. It is the statement that you are valuable, that you have put out something valuable in the world. Otherwise, there's no possible way for you to have Bitcoin. And I like that. I like the fact that nobody can create it. I like the fact that there's no Vitalik of Bitcoin, Vitalik Buterin of Bitcoin. You understand? I like that. I like the fact that it started at zero and stayed at zero for a year, and its life sparked of its own volition. No human being said, well, we're going to value this shit coin at $3. Who are you, dude? You create the coin out of thin air, and you create the price it starts at, and that's not bullshit. Bitcoin started at zero. And it had to gain its life all by itself. There was no one who established its price. That's true. That's real. Can you start from zero and gain a life? That's authentic. Or do you need me to manufacture your life for you? Or do you need me to start your life off with a price? What's the odds of something else starting from zero and doing that? Zero. That's why it's never happened before again. That's why Bitcoin is a one-off. That's why Bitcoin is a one and only. It will never, no shitcoin's going to start at zero. They're going to pre-mine it and give you the price it starts with. That's bullshit. That's fake. Do you understand? Bitcoin is real. I freaking love it. Guys, I love it. I love it. I love it so. Oh, thank you so much. Muhammad gave me the 118. I had 148. So the multiplier, the Bank of America multiplier is 118. So based on the study they conducted, every $1 that goes into Bitcoin is multiplies the value of Bitcoin by 118. It's a 118 multiplier. That's crazy. Yeah, Muhammad says, I finally gave up on my wet dream of Bitcoin crashing to 20,000 and used up all my dry powder 3 weeks ago and went all in. Glad you did. Nice. Derek, that's right. Bitcoin bears, Lucifers. They're all Lucifers. Wow. All right, guys. Listen, I always appreciate you guys here. I really do. How many people we got here? Oh, we kind of grew a little bit. Thank you. Thank you for your time, guys. It's the most valuable thing you have, spending it with me here. I'm just flabbergasted by your generosity. Thank you. Until next time, trade well if you trade anything. Don't trade Bitcoin, but everything else in life is tradable. My name is Oliver Velez, and I am your 13%er Bitcoiner. Be safe out there, and until next time. Boom!